Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to learn how to knit one of these headbands, and it's very simple. As you can see, I've knitted it in stockinette this way, and then I've done like a plate or like a cable section here, and then continue to knit until we finish. And as you can see, it doesn't have a seam because we're going to use a provisional cast on, and we're going to close it up with the Kitchener stitch. So let's go ahead and see what we need for it. In order to knit one of these, you need some yarn, obviously, and I have here Debbie Bliss Cashmerino Aran. I use 5mm needles for it, and these are my Knit Pro Nova interchangeables. You also need a little bit of scrap yarn for the provisional cast on, and this is the one I used for this headband, so I saved it to reuse it for the one that I'm going to show you how to knit. You also need a crochet hook. It doesn't really matter, just don't use like a huge one or a tiny one. And then when you finish, you will need a double pointed needle. I guess you could do without, but it's so much easier to have one of these, and also scissors and the tapestry needle when we have to close it in. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is crochet a chain. You don't need to know how to crochet, it's very simple. You just want to make a knot or two, or how many you want, on one end, and then make a slip knot. And in order to make a slip knot, you want to twist, put your thumb through, and then pull the yarn over like this. Let me show you that again. So hold, twist, and pull your yarn through, and then we put our hook through, and we're going to chain a few more than what we need to cast on. So I'm going to chain like 4, and then I'm going to count 18 because that's how many we need to cast on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And you want to chain them quite loosely, and then chain just a couple more. And here's your chain. And if you look at it, the chain has V's like our knit stitches. And what we want to do is, holding the knot end on the right, we're going to flip our chain, and we're going to put our stitches in these knots. Can you see the knots? So here are the V's. Then we twist, and we're going to put our stitches in the knots. So what you want to do is take your yarn that you're going to use for your headband and your needle. Well, it's going to be very noisy. You want to hold your yarn like so, and then we're going to go through one of those knots like this, and we're going to hold our yarn and just pull that yarn through like the spine of the chain. And then we're going to do the same in the next one, in the bump. That's 2 stitches, 3, 4, 6. Just make sure that you don't split the yarn, and just to make sure that you're on the right path picking up this stitches from the back of the chain, you want to turn, and if you have V's like this, then you're good. So keep going until you have all your stitches picked up. Alright, so once you have your 18 stitches, you want to check again that you have your V's, and then you're going to have your purl bumps here, and we're going to start knitting in the flat stockinette stitch, slipping the first stitch at every row. So I'm going to slip the first stitch with yarn in the front, and then I'm going to purl all the way to the end. And you can make this any size, you just need to keep measuring it. So to kind of make it fit your head, you want to measure all around your head and then minus ½ inch from the length, in order to kind of have it a little bit stretch on your head so it doesn't just fall off. On the right side, I'm just going to slip the first stitch with yarn in the back and knit to the end. And I did say this in my other videos, I knit through the back loop when I knit in the flat because I purl differently since I'm a continental knitter. But if you're an English knitter, then just go ahead and knit through the front loop. However you knit your stockinette, it makes no difference. So that's 2 rows. You turn your work, and I know it looks big now, I mean quite wide, but I'll show you on mine that it kind of curls in, which makes it nicer. So you want to continue knitting in stockinette, slipping the first stitch at the beginning of every row. Knit right side and wrong side. Alright, I've knitted the half of it, the desired length, and I have here, I believe more than, well, let's see here, yeah, 6.5, 7 inches. Obviously you knit as much as you need to for the size that you're knitting. And now we're going to do the cable, and this is very simple. It's cable 3 to the back and cable 3 to the front, and I'll show you how to do that. For this you need the double pointed needle. You can use a cable needle. I don't have one. I always use the double pointed needle for cabling. And we're gonna start with cable 6, so that would be cable 3 to the back. And the way we do that, we're gonna slip the first 3 stitches on our double pointed needle. We're going to move it to the back. We're going to bring our yarn forward, and I'm going to knit 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then I'm going to put the yarn to the back of the double pointed needle, and I'm going to knit the 3 stitches on the double pointed needle, and they are a bit tight, but it works. So there, we cable 6 to the back. We're going to repeat that 2 more times, So slip the 3 stitches, put them on the back with the double pointed needle, bring the yarn forward, knit 3, okay. Ooh, I'm dropping the stitches. I just dropped the stitches on my double pointed needle. I guess that's why you need a cable needle. Okay, now I'm going to knit the stitches on my double pointed needle, which are 3, like this. Now we're going to do the same one more time. Slip 3 stitches, put them to the back, bring our yarn forward, knit 3, and knit the other 3 from the double pointed needle. That's our first row in the cable, and as you can see, it kind of gathers. Now we leave that to the side, and we're just gonna purl then we're gonna knit 1 row, purl 1 row, and we're gonna do the cabling to the front, and it's pretty much the same thing. It's just that we hold the stitches to the front, and I'll show you how we're gonna do that. Okay, 1 more row of knitting, okay. Then one purl row. Always slip the first stitch. Okay. Now we're ready to cable to the front, and this time see here, the cable goes that way. When we cable to the front, the cable will go the other way. Okay, so for this we're going to start with knit 3, where slip 1, knit 2. Okay, then we take our double pointed needle and we're going to slip 3 stitches, and this time we're going to hold them to the front like this. We're going to knit 3, and then we're going to knit 3 from our double pointed needle. Ooh, too many needles, huh? 1, 2, 3. There we go. Then we're going to do the same one more time. Slip 3 stitches to our double pointed needle, hold them to the front, knit 3 from the back needle, knit 3 from our double pointed needle or cable needle. Okay, and now we knit the 3 stitches that are left. And here we go, it crosses on the other side. So what you want to do is always between the cable rows we have 3 rows of plain stockinette. So I have a purl row, then a knit row, then a purl row, and then we cable again to the back, then 3 more rows and cable again to the front, and then we continue in plain stockinette until we finish our headband. Now, one thing that I wanted to tell you was, if you don't like your headband to curl up like this, you can do ribbing. So knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1 until you get to the cable section, or you could just do garter stitch, which will get you to this section here, and then you just do the knitting exactly the same, and then do the purling. I mean the garter stitch. This is the last row before our cabling. Okay, now we're going to cable again to the back. So we're going to start with slip 3 stitches on our cable needle. We hold them to the back, bring our yarn forward behind our needle here, and we're going to knit 3, 1, 2, 3. Then we go back to our cable needle and we're going to knit 3 again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more time, 3 stitches on our cable needle, hold them to the back. We're going to knit 3 here. 1, 2, 3. We go back to our cable needle and knit 3 there. 1, 2, 3, and one more time. Slip 3 on our cable needle, move our yarn here, knit 3, okay, and knit 3 from our cable needle, and we cabled 3 times, 6 to the back, 6, 6, 6. Here we go. Now 3 rows of plain stockinette, and then one more row of cables. All right, let's go again. When we cable to the front, we're going to start with slip 1, knit 2, then we're going to slip 3 on our cable needle, move them to the front, keep them in the front, I mean, knit 3, okay, and then we knit 3 from the cable needle, Okay, we do that one more time. Slip 3 to the front, knit 3 from the back needle. Okay, knit 3 from our double pointed needle. Okay, and knit 3. And we are done with the cable section. Now you're just gonna do plain knitting for as long as you need it for. You just remember to keep measuring your head. And then the next thing that we're gonna do is remove the provisional cast on and do the Kitchener stitch. Here we are at the last part of our video with the headband, and all we gotta do is take the provisional cast on off and finish with the Kitchener stitch. So what you want to do is go to the non-slip knot end. So here is the slip, here's the slip knot because we tied the knots. So we want to go here and we want to unravel it. Just pull the string out and it will start coming like this. Okay, you want to take your double pointed needle and we're going to put it through the first stitch. It's the yarn goes through it. That's our first stitch. So we're going to put our needle through and then we're just going to pull the yarn out easily, don't stretch. And then as you can see, we have series of V's. That's a V. Sorry, you can't see it, can you? That's a V. That's a V, and you want to go through the right leg of each V. So right leg, right leg, right leg, right leg, until you pick up 18. So what you want to do next is align your needles like this with the working yarn on the back needle. Okay, and we're gonna cut the yarn. Take one of these needles with big holes, and then we're going to thread it, and we're going to start on the Kitchener stitch. And I have I've done this before on camera. If you know it, just go ahead and stitch it. If not, you can just follow along with me. So we go in the first needle here as if to knit, and then we take that stitch off the needle. Then we go in as if to purl, and we leave the stitch there. We go to the back needle now as if to purl, pull the stitch off, go as if to knit, leave the stitch there, and then once in a while you just want to pull on your yarn to make sure that it's all good and tight. And we want to go again as if to knit, so we go knit, off, purl, the back needle purl, as if to purl I mean, off, as if to knit. Then you want to come back to your front needle, as if to knit, take the stitch off, as if to purl, leave the stitch on. Back needle, as if to purl, take the stitch off, as if to knit, leave the stitch there. And once you get some of it done, you just want to pull on the stitches like this, and they're gonna align, you'll see. So when you're done with it, you want to pull on the yarn here, and you'll see that it gets a bit tight. So you just want to pull on it both ways, and then here it is. You can see where we stitched it. You want to weave in your ends, and you can wash it and block it. Now I will say it will curl because we've done stockinette and is the pattern, so it will curl, but it looks nice on. If you don't want it to curl, you can go ahead and do a 1x1 rib. It's a bit more stretchier, so do 1x1 rib. You could do the twists when you get to the place here, and then continue in 1x1 rib, or you can just do a 1x1 rib, and when you stitch it up here you can gather it like this and make it look like a bow on the front. But yeah, I hope you like it and you knit this, and show me pictures, and give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.